Ahoy!
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of Bottom of the Stream.
Welcome. I'm Nick.
I'm Adam. How are you, Nick?
I am pretty good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Having fun times?
We are all trying our best.
That's all we can do at the minute, I think.
Sure. I mean, I have had a bit of a thing happen today.
Oh, a thing? What sort of thing?
I got a bit bored.
Right.
And, the kids had done their school work, and I think they were just, playing around or whatever. They might have been out in the garden. I was like, I need to have a shave. So I had a shave.
Right.
And I was like, weather's been pretty nice. I know it's not very nice, the last couple of days, but hopefully the sun will come back. We've been spending a lot of time, outside in the garden. Got a bit of a tan.
Right.
And I was like, gonna trim my chest hair.
Okay.
So I had to go at that, and it all went a bit wrong.
Why? What happened?
Because I was just doing it myself. Probably should have got someone else to do it. And I think basically, in the 40-year-old virgin,
yeah,
when he gets partially waxed.
Yeah,
I've kind of got that look going on.
You got bald patches now.
Yeah, so I need to kind of do a bit more work on it. I think I might do some chest
rip the whole thing
fury.
off.
Well, I could do.
Get some wax and get the whole thing off.
Just look like a giant baby then, I think.
Like me.
So yeah, that happened today.
Excellent. Can you send me a picture?
I may do. Since you asked so nicely.
That's really made me laugh. I haven't had any dramatic things like that happen.
You watch now, the sun's not going to come back.
That's it now. No, it's done. It's winter again now. We've had the summer.
Yeah, that would be just my look.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and do a selfie.
I'm excited now.
I wouldn't be.
Nothing exciting has happened to me at all. My car's broke.
Oh no.
Well, I may be exaggerating there. The rear indicator stopped working.
Okay.
And so I went to change the bulb, and it turns out the lens has got a crack in it, and I've got to change the whole thing.
Oh right, okay.
It cost me £100. I'm not very happy. Yeah, so
I mean, what do you need indicators for?
Exactly. I just won't turn right.
Yeah. You just go in a circle. You just got to go everywhere in a circle, or stick your hand out the window. I'm not condoning this, by the way. It's purely for comedy purposes. Yeah, that's true. Just wear one glove, just on that one hand that goes out the window.
Good thinking. That would have been cheaper than buying a whole new light fitting. Yeah. I would just buy one glove.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd buy one glove from.
I'm not sure that would have held up if the police stopped you, though.
True. That is true. We did both have birthdays this last week.
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
We should probably mention that at some point.
Happy birthday for last week.
Happy birthday.
I know I said it to you, in person. Well, not in person, but via
video chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's it feel being 40?
I'm not 40, and neither are you. This time next year, we're going to have a hell of a party. We're going to invite all the listeners and everything.
Yeah, I hope so.
If we can, if we're allowed by then. Hopefully we will be.
Bottom of the Stream Festival.
Oh, Bottom of the Stream Film Festival. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Get a hot pot on in the day.
Some tents in the back garden or something.
I'm up for this. Let's do this. I'm excited for our 40th next year.
Yeah.
How did we get to 40?
But well, time. I'm not sure how we made it. I'm not sure how I've made it. Yeah, so we both had lockdown birthdays. How was it? Good. Well, I'd already kind of had a couple of my presents.
You had all your presents already, didn't you?
Didn't I? Because I had my hammock and my coffee machine. So yeah, got a few weeks in with them already. So I've got, what else did I get? I got some barbecue tools.
No.
And I got a apron to wear whilst barbecuing.
Something tells me your missus wants to eat more meat.
I literally don't know what to say to that. Other than chance would probably be a fine thing. So, I hope she doesn't listen to this episode. No, she never listens. We're fine.
She watches the films sometimes.
Yeah, occasionally. I can't. You've totally thrown me off now.
Sorry.
I got a cool coffee cup. So
right.
Well, two. So for the aforementioned coffee machine. So it's like a cup within a cup. So that it's like double
cup.
Yeah, like a double blown glass. So you pour the coffee in, and then there's a gap, and you.
Why?
Why? Because it just looks cool. I'll send you a picture. We can tweet it out.
Yeah, okay. I can't really picture it in my head.
I've explained it terribly, I think.
I'm imagining it a bit like, you get those Jaeger bomb glasses.
Yeah, you're on the right lines. It's that sort of thing.
But you don't put anything in the middle?
No.
Because you put milk in the middle, and so it just like mixes in your mouth.
So you've just got one chamber in the middle for the beverage, and then the outer chamber is blank.
Oh, I think I understand. Yeah, I think I've got... Oh, you've sent me a photo.
Yeah.
Live tweetage. Oh, no, that looks cool. I get it now.
Yeah,
cool.
It's classic.
I'll put that on the Instagram because you didn't really explain it very well.
No, I didn't.
Cool.
Didn't paint a picture with my words. What about you?
I didn't really get anything, to be fair. I just got money and vouchers.
What are you going to spend them on?
So nobody can go shopping, so I don't know. I've been debating whether to buy a beanbag chair, proper like beanbag chair for the lounge.
Sure.
So if I'm like take my PlayStation down there or whatever, but I don't know if I'd use it down there enough. And then I thought about buying a record player.
Oh,
because
nice.
Everybody's quite cool with vinyl at the minute, but vinyl's really expensive.
It is.
So I don't know. I'm just going to think about it and
consider your options.
Consider my options, indeed.
So before we get on to like news and socials and all that stuff, since you've mentioned your potential beanbag chair and your PlayStation, I think the question everyone wants to know is, are you still alive on your deserted island?
I haven't played it as much this week, but we're currently on day 35.
Nice.
And I found some potatoes.
Good.
Which is an absolute bonus.
So you found them or you grew them?
I found them, and now I can plant them and grow more of them.
Excellent.
But you need potatoes to make fuel.
Of course.
So I've got enough now to build a motor for my raft, so I can get to the other islands quicker.
Just don't fall off it.
No, try not to fall off it. So things should ramp up from here.
Excellent.
The reason I haven't played it as much is because I've been playing another VR game. I've been playing the new Walking Dead game on the VR.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's amazing.
Is it good?
It's so much fun. You kind of in this zombie apocalypse, it's a survival game, so you have to like scavenge and try and do missions and things.
Oh, so it is a full-on game. It's not just one of these like
full-on
wave of attacks. Yeah.
No, it's a full-on like proper game. It's the first proper VR game for a very long time. But the weapons feel like they've got weight to them.
Right.
So like the axe only works if you put both hands on it.
Okay.
And the knife you have to really bury it quite hard in the heads, and then you have to hold the head to pull it back out again.
Oh. Awesome.
It's awesome. Killing those zombies will never get boring in that.
Is it scary?
Yeah. It's made me really jump the other night. I took the headset off and just laughed at myself. Because I was standing at this door trying to open it, and these 3 zombies just broke it down from the other side.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that. So I've been playing that quite a bit. But obviously my VR's upstairs, and I quite like to play my PlayStation downstairs because there's a 4K TV down there. So I'm having to cart the PlayStation up and down the stairs at the minute.
Oh, it's not a tenable solution long term.
No, I need to come up with a better solution somehow.
Install a lift. A lift.
Yeah. Or just get a really long cable.
Yeah, you could do.
A really long HDMI cable to lead up the stairs.
Be like when you used to have to run the phone cable to connect to the internet.
So I think I might just, because my projector's only like, it's not even full HD, so I might just have to make do with that, and that will save the taking it up and downstairs. But
sweet,
we'll see. I'll have a think.
Awesome.
Shall I run through the social medias?
Let's do it.
Follow us on Twitter at BOTS_podcast. Instagram is the same at BOTS_podcast. Facebook.com/bottom of the stream. The website is www.bottomofthestream.com, where you will find every episode we've ever done and all 3 season stream tables now. And you can also check us out on Patreon, where if you give us a bit of money every month, we'll give you some free bonus episodes, some merch, a few shout outs, that sort of thing. And just generally get to know you a bit better.
Yeah, if you can't do that, then leave us a review, please, on Podchaser or on Apple Podcasts, because that really helps put us up the algorithm and in front of more people's eyes and ears.
Exactly. I thought we did really well there. That sounded like the most professional one we've done in ages.
Well,
you did
everyone
break up
gets
on me
lucky
on Skype.
sometimes.
You did break up on me on Skype on a little bit, but I figure your recording will be fine. So, what do we do now? Netflix news.
Let's do that.
I've got 3 pieces of Netflix news, and I believe you've got a piece this week.
I do have a piece.
A piece.
Yeah.
First one, Netflix today announced the release date for the final season of 13 Reasons Why.
Why?
Because they want to. Have you ever seen? Do you watch 13 Reasons Why?
I've never seen it. No, I think it is on my Netflix list, but we've never watched it yet.
It's one of Netflix's biggest shows, and it's coming to an end. It's very controversial. It's probably their most controversial show. They get a lot of complaints about it. They even edited one of the episodes because they had so many complaints. So I think that's possibly why they've gone final season with it.
Is it not one of those shows that had a really good idea for one season and they've dragged it out a bit? That's kind of the perception I have of it from not having ever seen its point of view.
But it's possibly the best example of that because the next season isn't that bad.
Right.
The first season's really good, and then it's not as good. It never got as good again, but it's not bad. It's got a bottom of the stream alum in there as well.
Sure.
What's his name from first episode we ever did? Dylan Minnette?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the main character in it. So that's coming on the 5th of June. So quite soon. Not too long to wait for that. Sooner than that, in fact, available now is the Kimmy Schmidt Interactive Special.
I did see that. Just it had popped up. I'm quite excited.
Yeah, me too. I've not had a chance to have a go at it yet. It came out today as we record. But obviously it will have been out a few days by the time this episode comes out. But definitely, I'm really looking forward to having a go on that. Maybe we should do like a bonus episode on it.
I would be up for that, definitely.
Do you reckon? We'll try and come up with a way to do a bonus episode on it.
Yeah, we'll have a think about it because obviously we may make different choices. So
yeah, exactly. And we can compare what we did.
We could do something like that. That sounds good.
Yeah. We've talked about Kimmy Schmidt quite a lot, so I think we're justified in that.
We'll do whatever we want.
Yeah, of course we can.
It's our show.
Final piece of news is the Snowpiercer TV series.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Coming very soon, May the 25th.
Great movie.
Great movie. Yeah, really, really good movie. And they've turned it into a TV series. And there are 10 episodes in the first season. But they are coming out weekly.
Yeah. So, interestingly, do you think this is is this because it's coming from network TV? Possibly. Or is this a change in tack from Netflix?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
To keep a bit of contact back?
It's more than likely because it's coming from a network show. But it may be a tactic to keep some content fresh. I don't know. I think IMDb might have the episode lineup wrong.
Why?
But they've got the first episode coming on the 25th of May, the second episode on the 1st of June, and the third episode on the 31st of May.
Right, okay.
We get an episode 2 before we get episode 3 before we get episode 2, according to that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It looks really good. I'm excited for it. It's got Jennifer Connelly in it.
I mean, it's a great concept. I mean, you could argue, why do you need a TV series of it? But
yeah,
I'm willing to give it a go.
But if it gets the film into more people's eyes, then the films are really good. It's by the guy who made Parasite, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Guy who won the Oscar last year.
Yeah.
Don't know his name.
Boon Jong-ho? Is that right?
Jong-ho. Yeah, well done.
Thanks.
I'm impressed. Finally, for me anyway, this week is... No, that is finally for me. I'm done. I've only got 3 pieces and that's all 3 of them. So I think you've got something you want to mention.
I have one because I just spotted it literally before we started talking. And it does concern another bottom of the stream alum.
Oh, okay.
And someone who seems to work so hard, I'm pretty sure he never sleeps. And that is Mike Flanagan.
Oh, yeah.
So he directed Hush, which was top of our stream table last season. He has created and directed Haunting of Hill House, which is a Netflix show, and Haunting of Bly Manor, which is coming quite soon.
Yeah, that is coming soon.
He directed Doctor Sleep, which was out in the cinemas end of last year.
Yep, and cinemas. Do you remember cinemas?
Yeah.
I really miss the cinema.
And he is now taking on for Netflix an adaptation of another book, not a Stephen King book, called The Midnight Club.
Oh, right.
It's a young adult book, and it's basically a load of teenagers sitting around telling scary stories. So there's a lot of ways you could go with that, I'm sure.
Different story every week, kind of.
Sure, yeah.
Different actors every week, or
potentially.
That's exciting.
So yeah, he's been commissioned to do that for Netflix. I mean, I don't know how.
Not at the minute.
Because he's also doing Midnight Mass, which we've talked about before, which is coming at some point this year, maybe.
He's just signed on to do an adaptation of Revival as well, which is another Stephen King story. I read that in the week, so he's going to be a very busy boy.
Yeah.
Revival's a really good book. So
I've read that one.
That'd be an interesting Interesting story.
Cool.
Have you been watching anything good at the top of the stream this week?
Yeah, a couple of things. I'm still watching The Last Dance. So
is that still going?
Yeah. I just mention it every week because it's so good. And in fact, I'm enjoying it so much, I've now started to ration it. So, because 2 episodes come out every week and I've only watched 1 this week so far, I'm just saving. So it's like a really old man thing. I'm saving them for when I'm like,
when you're really
I'm not gonna be interrupted, and
that's good.
I can sit down and enjoy it. But no, it is really good. Yeah, I just watched episode 7 yesterday or the day before, which is all to do with the murder of Michael Jordan's father. So yeah, it was really interesting.
I didn't even know his father was murdered.
Yeah, and then I've watched Dead to Me.
Oh, have you watched it? Season 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's next on my list.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's fine. I mean, it's
difficult
not
second season.
It's not bad. It's, how can I say, takes a few leaps,
right, that
I'm not sure quite fit in with what happened in the first series.
Okay.
Well, I can't really say much because you've not seen it.
You don't want to spoil it.
Don't want to spoil it for you, but yeah. I mean, it's a couple of things happen that are a bit sort of almost soap opera-y, really.
Right.
But yeah, we'll have a look and we can have a chat about it next week maybe.
Excellent. I will do that. I'm trying. I'm going to fail, I think, but I'm trying to get to the end of Lost before the anniversary.
Oh yeah.
The 24th of May is 10 years since the finale, and my plan was to try and get it so I could watch that finale on that day. But I think I'm going to miss it. I'm only 8 episodes into season 5, so I've got like 25 episodes left.
Right, okay.
And I don't think I'm going to make it by that date at the rate I'm going.
Unless you have a good weekend.
Unless I can just nail it this weekend. Yeah, set myself a deadline that I'm going to miss.
Do you have to be worrying about deadlines at the minute?
I know. The last thing I should be worried about is like, I might just watch the finale on the anniversary anyway and then go backwards. Maybe I should work backwards through it. Maybe it make more sense. I'm absolutely loving it though.
Good.
It's so good. So good. I would say the quality of the writing has possibly dipped in season 5 slightly. It's not as... The dialogue isn't as strong, for definite. Some really janky lines in there. Other than that, it's brilliant. The story's incredible.
I've never been back and watched any of it since
you need
since it finished.
Get on it.
Maybe. I don't know when I'd do that.
Other than that, I did finish Hollywood. I mentioned Hollywood briefly last week.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. I thought all 7 episodes were really good, and the overall story is amazing. Ryan Murphy gets a little bit of stick for his show sometimes, that they're all style and no substance. But I think he might have conquered it on this one.
Cool. Yeah, we've not quite finished it yet, but yeah, I've enjoyed what I've seen.
It's really good. It just twists when it needs to, and it just tells the story when it doesn't, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. He's hinted at a second season as well, which is exciting.
Good.
But he tends to change all the cast in his shows, doesn't he? So whether he'll do that or not, I don't know. But he could go for a different time period, maybe, or
exactly. That's
interesting.
The sort of thing that's in his wheelhouse, isn't it?
There's plenty of stories to tell about old school Hollywood, I'm sure.
Sure.
Right, I think that's it.
Awesome.
Got anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Should we move on to talk about this film then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, this week we watched a film called Mute. Mute is a Netflix original from 2018. It is 15. It is 2 hours and 6 minutes long and is currently rated at 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Well, one of the longest films we've done, I think, 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Pretty much.
I'd need to check, but I would think it is definitely one of the longest, if not the longest.
Top few, I would have said.
Yeah, definitely. Stars Alexander Skarsgard as Leo. We've met Alexander Skarsgard before on this show. He was in Hold the Dark. Do you remember him?
I do. He played a broody, silent
big
killer.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's maybe getting a bit typecast. He's probably most famous though because he was in True Blood, which was the big TV show a few years ago. He was the main bad guy in that, so that's probably what people mainly know him for, I would say. Also stars Paul Rudd, who plays Cactus Bill. Oh, everybody knows who Paul Rudd is. You're most likely going to know him as Ant-Man. I think he's our first Avenger.
Yeah, pretty
sure he's our first Avenger on the show.
And who doesn't like Paul Rudd? He is the everyman.
I wouldn't say I don't like him. I just don't rate him normally.
Well, you've been wrong before. What can I say?
Many, many, many times. If you don't know him from Ant-Man, you'll know him from Friends. He was in that. He's also got his own sitcom on Netflix.
Yep.
Living with Yourself. I've not seen that. Is that any good?
No, I
Have you
haven't.
seen it?
No, not seen it.
Mr. Big Paul Rudd fan's not watched it.
It's on my list. I've not watched it.
Written and directed by a guy called Duncan Jones. Do you want to tell us a bit about Duncan Jones, Nick?
Duncan Jones has a very famous father.
He does indeed.
He was born Zowie Bowie.
He was.
And he is David's son.
He is, yes. Son of David Bowie. Bowie. How do you say it? Bowie?
I don't know.
I think I say Bowie.
I think I say both. I think I change. So he is most famous for Moon, which was his debut film.
Yep.
Probably about 10 years ago now.
Probably. He won a BAFTA for it.
And it's a great film.
Yeah, it's a brilliant film. Really, really good film.
It sort of earmarked him as a talent to watch.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Well, he won a BAFTA as best directorial debut.
Yeah.
For it.
He then went and made Source Code.
Yep, with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Really good film.
And then he got given an absolute fuck ton of money to make the Warcraft movie.
Yeah, World of Warcraft.
Which I've not seen.
I've not seen it either, I must admit.
I don't think it was greeted particularly well, was it?
No, I don't think it went down very well.
And then he's made this. And I almost can't believe I've never heard of this film.
I agree. I thought exactly when you texted me last week to tell me that Duncan Jones directed it, I was like, how have we missed this? How has this not been a thing, this film in my life?
Because he's a big director.
Yeah, big old name.
There's some big stars in this.
Yeah.
And this is like his passion project, apparently.
Yeah.
So he wanted to do this after Moon, but then he took the studio money to do those other films. And then obviously Netflix swooped in and said, do whatever you want, here's the money.
Come and make loot for us.
Yeah. And this is the result. So yeah, I'm pretty surprised this had not been on my radar, to be honest.
Agreed. I completely agree. You can tell money was thrown at it as well. This has got a budget to this film. You can see the money in it.
Yeah, you can and you can't, but I'll come on to that.
Do you have a one-word review?
No, because that's 2 words. Futuristic.
Yeah.
So I was going to say Blade Runner light.
Very, very, very much. It's almost like it's set in the same universe. It's very, very similar. Right, shall we begin?
Yeah.
The film starts with a body. Well, it's not a body, but you believe it's a body of a young boy floating in the water. Something's happened. He's bleeding. And his parents are trying to get to him, trying to get him back on the boat. He fell off a boat somehow. Did it ever say what had happened? There's a boat. There's a kid with blood all over him.
No, not specifically. I mean, there's a boat. The boat's got a propeller.
Yeah.
His neck's got chopped up.
Cut to in the hospital.
There's a boating accident. That's what's happening.
Doctors tell his parent or his mother that he's going to need surgery or he will never talk again.
Yeah.
And
the doctor's like, yeah, it's bad, but we can sort this out.
We can fix it. If we don't fix it, he'll never talk. His mother refuses. She's like, no, we're not operating on him. Are they Amish?
They are Amish. Yeah. And she says that God will heal him.
Yes. Cut to title card. Well, the title card kind of is in the same room as them, which I thought was quite clever. It's on like a doctor's pad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just comes up mute, and then it comes up on the screen 30 years later. So this film is set 30 years later than that. I don't usually like that sort of storytelling art, but when it's that long, I think you probably need it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it was kind of, at least they didn't just bung
No, it wasn't just on the screen.
A caption up on the screen. It was displayed in one of the electronic boards in this futuristic city, wasn't it?
He was swimming, wasn't he, underwater? Yeah. And there was like a underwater...
Like an advertising hoarding type thing,
underwater video screen, wasn't there, of dolphins and stuff, and it came up on there. Cuts to him. We kind of meet him from there. This is Alexander Skarsgard now as Leo. He's playing a record. He's kind of just hanging around his apartment, and then he just necks a pint of water.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, and just gets this pint of water and just necks it in like seconds. Then we cut to the outside, and you've got like what you would term as a film-style futuristic city.
Sure.
Is that futuristic cities always look a bit like this in films, don't they? Like a really heavily lit New York.
Yeah, so, it won't be the first time. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time, rather, we mention it. This is picture Blade Runner, and that's what you've got here. Yeah. So on the ground, you've got this gritty, dirty, grimy city, and then above, you've got the neon, bright lights, flying cars.
Yeah. Big video screens and personalised advertising and all that sort of thing.
And it soon becomes apparent that we are in Germany, and specifically this is a futuristic version of Berlin.
Yes. He meets a girl who later turns out to be his partner, his girlfriend, and they're going out for dinner. And they're sitting in a park, aren't they? Kind of eating.
Yeah.
They get food delivered to them. You can get food delivered by a drone. Yeah. Which would be really handy, right, in these sort of times.
It really would, yeah.
And she's got him a gift. And the gift that she's got him is an old mobile phone, the oldest and simplest mobile phone she could find, although it's still futuristic compared to what we're using these days.
Yeah.
It appears he doesn't really like, well, obviously he was brought up as Amish, so he doesn't really like technology. There's a bit of a phobia of it.
It's laid on really thick, this is. It's like, yeah, we get it, he's Amish. Yeah. He's not into technology. Yeah.
Yeah, but I suppose he needed a phone throughout the film.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
They needed a scene to explain why he had one. Yeah. Because you couldn't have done this film without one.
Now, I more meant the Amishness. It's like, yes, I understand. I get what an Amish person is. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. Cut to a strip club, but it's not any normal strip club because the strippers are robots. Or at least one of them is. With its big robot boobs out. And this is where we meet Cactus Bill, who is Paul Rudd's character. He kind of gets taken upstairs by the manager. She's not she's not the owner, is she? Because he comes later on, but she's like the manager.
She's the floor manager or whatever you want to call her.
We have a brief scene meeting him. This is where we find out as well that Leo and his girlfriend both work there.
Yeah, so Leo's a barman and his girlfriend is a waitress.
Yes. Then we meet Noel Clark.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the stream, Noel. He won two Botscars last season.
Yes.
For worst actor and worst performance by an actor and worst film.
Yeah. The anomaly.
Yeah, he is terrible in that film.
Oh, it's a terrible film.
But in this film, he's playing like a sleazy customer of the strip club.
Everyone's sleazy in this film, but yeah, he's
very true.
He's an obnoxious patron of the club, isn't he?
And he hits on what's this lady's name? Nadira.
Yeah.
He hits on her a little bit, and Leo ends up losing his cool and carries him off into the toilets, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Leo steals some money off him just as he's about to beat him up, but she manages to talk him down. Because she follows him in as well, and she manages to calm him down, talk him down a little bit, and he ends up in the boss's office. He gets a bit of a slap on the wrist, doesn't he?
Yeah, the boss says, "I don't want to see you in here again. I'm going to let you off this time because this guy was obviously being a total douchebag. Yeah. But can't have you roughing up the customers."
Yeah.
So.
Cut to nighttime, and they're in bed now in their little apartment that they live in, and she says, "I need to tell you something. We need to talk about something." And he doesn't speak. I don't think we've mentioned that. But since the accident, he obviously can't speak. He doesn't speak. He's a mute, hence the name of the film. He writes on his pad that if you're not leaving, nothing else is important. So as long as you're not leaving me, I don't really care what else you got to say, is basically what he says. Or
right. Yeah, so he's still not a good listener, even though he can't talk.
Very true. Instead, he takes her off to he's got like a workshop / garage area.
Yeah.
And he takes her off there, and he's been carving some wood.
Yeah, he respects wood.
He does.
He loves a woody. He's been carving a bed.
Yeah, he's making them a bed, like a proper old-fashioned wooden carved bed. And she loves it a little bit. She obviously appreciates this, and they have a bit of a kiss. But when he wakes up the next morning, she's not there anymore. She's
gone.
She's just disappeared. And then we cut back to Paul Rudd, who is his character's name's Cactus Bill, which is never explained. And he lives.
It's just a cool name.
It is a cool name. I'm not denying it at all. It's a great name. He lives in an old farmhouse, out of the city.
Yeah.
And he is currently in the middle of surgery, taking a bullet out of a gangster's leg.
Yeah.
with his
and it's pretty graphic.
It's very graphic.
So this film doesn't shy away from the blood and the guts.
No, not at all. There's not a lot of it, but when it is there, it's not shying away from it.
So Cactus and his friend, who we later find out is called Duck, are, as you say, patching this guy up.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they're quite quickly in this conversation. It comes out that they're both ex-army medics.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're sort of doing this favour for a gangster.
Yeah, because Cactus Bill wants to get out of the country. He needs papers, and this gangster's offered to get them for him.
Yeah. So it turns out that Cactus is absent without leave from the army, so he's trying to lay low until he can get his forged passport to escape Germany.
Yeah. In the next scene, Leo's sitting in a cafe in the town centre having his breakfast. Cactus walks in, and this is their first time they meet in the film. He gives Leo a bit of a warning as well, doesn't he? He's like, try not to fight with the limeys.
Yeah,
obviously Knockout playing an Englishman.
Yeah.
Bill basically says that, look, I need them. I need that club, because the gangster who he's working with is the guy who runs the club.
Yeah. So the guy who told Leo off, Maxim, is the guy who Cactus is working for.
Yeah. And Leo basically just draws a portrait of him in his little notebook.
Yeah.
And leaves.
So did you notice what was on the TV in this scene as well?
Did I notice what was on the TV? There was a news report going on.
Yep.
What was it?
It was of a courtroom case.
Right.
And Sam Rockwell was in it.
Oh, was he?
And so was Sam Rockwell.
What?
So he was on trial, but he was also in the audience. So it was like the clones from Moon.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
I'm gutted I didn't spot that. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Nice. I love a little callback.
Yeah. So it's obviously supposed to be set in the same universe.
Yeah, cool. That's good. I didn't realise it was set in the same universe. That's exciting. I love Moon. Moon's a great film. I haven't seen it for a long time.
It's a good movie.
But I might have to check it out again. It's really good. Go and watch Moon, everybody.
So no quicker had Cactus told Leo to stay away from the limeys, that we cut back to the club and they turn up and get in a fight with Leo.
Yeah, Leo basically tries to... Knockout kind of puts it on again with Nadira, and Leo fights him again. And he ends up getting fired this time, because obviously Maxim's not having that. He's already warned him once. Leo accidentally knocks out one of the other waitresses as well during that fight, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, it's not a pretty scene. Cut to him again. He necks another pint of water, so he must get pains in his throat or something, I'm assuming.
I think it was also to show that he can hold his breath for a long time underwater.
Which is...
Because at the start he was left floating in the water.
True.
As a child. And then he's necking all this liquid as well.
True.
Oh, we presume it's water. He might have been drinking straight vodka.
It could have been vodka, it could have been gin. Could have been petrol. We just don't know, but we're assuming it was water. He figures out how to send a text from his phone, because he's like a little old man when it comes to technology. And he texts Nadira, but he doesn't get an answer from her at all.
Yeah, so where are you?
Yeah. Then we cut back to... It cuts between Bill and Leo quite a lot, this film, doesn't it? They're the main two characters, and the scenes are short and sharp. And
two threads.
Yeah. And a kid turns up. He's been asked to babysit or look after a kid. Turns out it's his kid. So he kind of gets stuck with it for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Just follows him around now for the rest of the film. Leo decides he's going to follow Nadira. I presume he was her flatmate?
I think so, because this guy Luba, who we saw at the club with Nadira earlier, is a friend / flatmate.
Yeah, I think they live together. And
yeah,
Leo decides he's going to follow him. And it turns out he works in like a brothel?
Yep.
I'm going to say brothel. Leo basically pays for some time with him, doesn't he, without him knowing?
Yeah.
And they have a bit of a row. They have a bit of a... Because what's this guy's name? Luba.
Luba. I mean, he probably had to use quite a lot.
I would imagine, in his line of work. He doesn't like Leo at all. He makes no bones about it whatsoever. Even when he was talking to Nadira earlier, he made no bones
he's
about
like, you took my friend away from me.
Yeah, he's basically jealous. It's a bit like how I feel about your wife. That's not true. I love your wife. Yeah, and basically they have a bit of a pushy-shovey match, don't they? And Leo eventually gets kicked out of there as well.
Yeah.
Cut to Leo gets a response from his text message in the next scene. Yeah,
and it just says, "Miss me?"
Yeah. And it says, "Miss me, I'm in Hackers Hall," which is a really bad name for wherever they are.
Yeah.
When Leo, so obviously Leo goes there, it turns out Noel Clarke is there. This guy's just like stalking him without even trying.
Bad penny.
And they have another bit of a kerfuffle with them, don't they?
Yeah.
And Leo breaks his pencil, which is not a good sign because he can't write anything without his pencil.
No, but then he has a bit of a flashback, doesn't he? And he remembers that Nadira ripped a page out of his book earlier.
She'd written something and then ripped it out.
He does the old charcoal trick, doesn't he, to see what she'd written.
Yeah, he rubs it.
And, of course, there's an address there.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
That's where he goes next. And I'm going to bring up my first big bugbear about this movie.
Okay.
We're on this sort of wild goose chase trying to find this woman.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help think of Miracle Mile, which I know is a totally different film. But you remember when he was also on a wild goose chase in that?
Yeah.
And it just felt like he was going around the same block of the city.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Now you've said that, that's a great shout. Because everything did seem to be really close together, didn't it?
And really, one of my biggest criticisms of this movie is that it's got, like you said earlier, it's got all this money spent. It's clearly not a cheap film budget-wise.
No, not at all.
And it looks grimy when it wants to look grimy. It looks futuristic when it needs to, depending on where they are in the city. But I never felt like we really saw the city.
Yeah, I would like to have seen a bit more of it. Yeah, I do know what you mean.
I didn't feel like this captured that atmosphere. Like Blade Runner is, I know it's a massively high bar, don't get me wrong, but that's like, you almost feel the city as a character, and this just felt like we were passing through, and it was...
Yeah.
I
think that's
I didn't buy it.
I think that's a fair comment. There's also, when you think about it, not really any need for it to be set in a future city like that. This story can be told anywhere.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder why he chose to do that in this sort of environment. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Well, he wanted to link it to Moon, I guess, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess so.
But you're right. You could have had this.
The story could be told anywhere. Yeah.
Today. Yeah.
None of the technology really gets used.
No.
Cut to Bill and Duck, and they've Bill and Duck Bill. They've gone bowling together, just the two of them. Duck is really creepy.
Yeah, so this is basically where it just comes out. Like, if we didn't know these two were dodgy already, that basically Duck is a paedophile.
Yeah.
Because he's eyeing up all these schoolgirls bowling.
He's got an eye for the younger girl, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. And he acts, well, he mentions Bill's daughter just in passing in a conversation. And Bill really takes exception to it. So Bill obviously knows or has some sort of inkling of what this guy's like. Yeah. And he smashes his hand up, doesn't he? I don't think he breaks it, but he kind of damages it.
Yeah, puts a bowling ball on it, doesn't he?
He just like crushes it a little bit. Cut away from that, they basically just have a bit of a row, but they're like best mates. They're not going to fall out. Cut back to Leo. He's going to see a guy called Oswald, whose name was written on this piece of paper.
Yeah.
He's a character. He's a man dressed up as a geisha girl.
Yeah.
With a couple of sex robots on his bed.
Very apt since you've been watching Lost.
Yeah, it was Dominic Monaghan. It was nice to see him. He hasn't got a lot of time for Nadira, this Oswald chap. He calls her a thieving whore.
Yeah.
Which causes Leo to kick off a little bit. And he pushes him down onto the bed where there's a couple of robots going at it.
Like, they're like big, clanky, janky old robots as well, aren't they?
They really are. Yeah, and you don't see that character again.
Nope.
It's just a weird little scene out of nowhere.
So this did feel a bit padding, So we were, like I say, we're already on this wild goose chase. This was probably a leg of it we didn't really need.
Yeah,
story wise.
All he gets out of him is a character. He needs to see a guy called Nicky.
Yeah, and he gets a photo of Nadira. So instead of writing it on his pad, he can now shove this photo in people's faces.
Yeah, you could have cut that whole scene out. This film's on for 2 hours and 6 minutes. There are bits of it that don't need to be there. Maybe it would have worked a bit better if it was a bit shorter and sharper.
But again, that's part of the, sometimes a very fair criticism that's levelled at Netflix because, there's not that studio interference, for want of a better word. They're saying to directors, you go and make what you want.
Go out there and do it. Yeah. We're not going to get in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair comment. It just feels like it's a little overlong. So Oswald gives Leo a name. He gives him the name of Nikki, so that's Leo's next stop. Come back to Bill. He's with his daughter. They're at the brothel now. Duck's going off with some young girl, and Bill decides he needs a babysitter, so he leaves his daughter with one of the prostitutes.
Yeah.
I think he's done it many times before. I got the impression they knew him quite well, and they knew the daughter quite well.
He runs into some cops outside, military police, and they basically tell Cactus that his Cactus's ex-wife has come to them, and she's basically nearly got enough money to bribe them to pick him up.
Yeah.
And send him to jail, basically, for being absent without leave.
Yeah, but the cops seem to respect him slightly, and they tell him but don't do anything, do they?
Yeah.
So it's like
it's sort of like, you want to be careful because, she's the money is almost... He's basically giving him a final warning. Yeah. He's saying, she's nearly got enough money for us to consider taking you in.
Yeah. In the next scene, I've written here, Leo follows a sky cab. And then underneath I've written badly. Because he's trying to look up and follow this cab, but he's obviously driving a normal car. And every time he looks up, he crashes into something. And he basically just smashes up this car that he's driving.
Do you think that's what's happening? Because it really confused me. Because I can get he's never driven a car before if we're going along the whole Amish thing. Yeah. I don't get that he doesn't understand traffic lights.
I think he was because he was looking up at the cab. He just kept missing.
Okay, fair enough.
Kept taking his eyes off there. That's how I understood it anyway.
I'll give it that.
The sky car eventually lands at a restaurant.
So in the car are Nikki and a prostitute and Cactus Bill's daughter.
Yes. He obviously somehow he knew that Nikki was in this car. Nobody knows how.
He watched them come out of the brothel.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So did he know who this Nikki was? Yeah, because he met Nikki earlier in the film.
Yeah.
Because he got introduced to him in the club. Apologies.
Yeah.
Trying to put things together. So he goes in and he takes the kind of table next to them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And eventually he ends up chatting to Nikki on his own. Nikki kind of twigs who he is. Sends the prostitute off with the daughter.
Yeah, he does, because Leo's very good at drawing as well, so he does a nice drawing for the Cactus Bill's daughter. Yeah. And then, he has some time alone with Nikki.
Yeah. Nikki says that Nadira doesn't work for him, because he's like the owner of the brothel, I guess, or he runs it. Yeah. But Leo kind of rattles him when...
He basically has worked out, somehow, that Nikki is doing work with these girls on the side, without Maxim knowing about it, who's the guy who owns the club.
All of the girls that work in Nikki's brothel are also barmaids or waitresses in Maxim's club, and that kind of rattles Nikki when he reveals that.
Yeah,
and Nikki's got these weird goons that like kind of sitting behind him that have got face masks on.
Yeah, and very topical.
Very topical, and they've got like white eyes. They've got no eyes, and they're in this one scene, and then they're never mentioned again.
No, because it was quite a good, cool look.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't it?
It was like black face masks, white eyes. Almost like they were robots.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, Leo leaves and we never see them again.
No.
Cut to, we meet Duck. We go to Duck now. Duck basically is a surgeon. He makes prosthetic limbs for people.
Yeah, so he's actually, because obviously all through this we thought he was like, doing this grimy work with Cactus Bill, but he's actually got a day job. Yeah. And he's, like a reconstructive surgeon.
Yeah, he makes remakes people's lost limbs.
Yeah.
And he's working on this young girl and he's kind of filming her walking away on a treadmill.
Yeah. It's very... Because he's a massive perv.
Yeah, because he's a dirty pervert. Cut to Leo's just decided he's going for a swim now. And he just gets in this pool and just goes under the water and just screams. So nobody can hear him. And then he figures out, because he watches somebody who's ordering food on one of these automatic food ordering machines, and basically it says, would you like the food delivered to here, where you are now, or shall we take it to your apartment, or we can track your phone? So
he quickly works out that he can use whichever... he wants to find out the address that the phone's registered to, basically, as his next location to go to. That's what he gets. He gets that info from this food delivery.
Yeah, he figures if he gives Nadira's phone number to this food delivery machine, he'll get an address, or at least be able to track the food.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a bit of an issue for him because you have to speak out loud into the machine the phone number. He can't speak, which is an issue when you're trying to order food from a speaking machine. So he just gets a guy, a passerby, to do it, doesn't he?
Yeah. Probably the coolest thing, actually, technology-wise in this movie was this passerby, because he was like playing a game.
Yeah.
But just in the air, because it was implanted into his brain or in front of his eyes or in contact lenses. I don't know.
It was like real life VR.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, yes, give me more VR.
I'd have liked to see more of that.
That sort of
things
thing.
like that would have helped build this world a lot better, I think.
Yeah. He goes to talk to, what was the friend's guy? Lubo. Or
Luba. I can't remember. I may have written two different things.
I think you said Luba to start with.
Let's go
he
with
talks
that.
to him again. Luba thinks that if you can't find her, she's definitely done a runner.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, now he doesn't like her because Luba's like, and she took my money, the bitch.
Yeah, basically, she ran off with my money. He goes to give Leo a gadget that will help him, but it turns out it's almost like a taser. Yeah. And he gives him this thing and it knocks Leo out completely. And whilst he's knocked out, he has a few visions of Nadira and memories of her. He wakes up in the flat on his own. The Luba's disappeared, and he finds her mum's phone number.
On the fridge. Stuck on the fridge. Well, I like this. Stuck on the fridge like you would normally. Yeah, except it's an electronic fridge, and you scroll up the fridge door to find the numbers.
And he eventually finds her phone number.
And address, I think.
And yeah, it does. Maxim has called Cactus. We go back to Cactus Bill now. Maxim's called him and told him he wants to find out what Nikki's been up to. So Maxim's got wind of whatever Nikki's been up to. And also that Leo's been spotted with Nikki. That comes out in this scene as well.
Yeah.
This is the scene where they're sitting at that bench in the cafe and there's a little old lady sitting next to them. And he just rips it out to this old lady. It really made me laugh. So
I don't know what you think of this. I'm going straight in there. I think Paul Rudd's the best thing in this film. And this is the best scene in this film. It's just Cactus Bill being absolutely horrible to this little old lady who sits next to him.
It's horrible.
And it's really funny.
It's really funny. It's really good. And I will agree, Paul Rudd is the best thing in this film. But it's a really, really meaty role. It's a really nice role to play. It's completely different to anything he's ever played before.
Sure. I mean, Cactus Bill has got no redeeming features whatsoever. Right. It's really... there's no nuance to these characters, which I think, again, is a criticism, but for the Cactus Bill role, it helps because Paul Rudd can just go all out horrible.
Yeah. It really is as well. It really is horrible.
And yeah, this is a very good example of that.
It's really funny, that scene is. It's really good. It's Duck's face as well because he can't quite believe what's happening as well, but then he just kind of goes, yeah, fair enough, and just accepts it. It really made me laugh. In the next scene, they've got Nicky. They've captured him, Bill and Duck. Maxim's there as well. Maxim, at this point, agrees to organise the fake ID for Bill and for his daughter.
Yeah, he's like, just do this one for me, and I'm nearly done. I'm nearly sorted your papers. Yeah. So they start to torture Nicky.
Yeah, they torture Nicky, although they know that he hasn't done anything. I think they mention that at that point, don't they? But they don't.
They're like, this guy's nobody. He doesn't know anything. Yeah. But we've got to do what Maxim asks us.
So they torture him anyway, and they kind of leave him on the table because in the next scene, Bill goes to Duck's office, to his surgery, wherever he works.
Yeah.
And he finds a video on the screen, and he is not impressed.
Yeah, he basically finds that Duck's installed cameras in the changing rooms.
where the kids go in. Duck's filming them. And Bill is not happy. He kind of kicks off, doesn't he? He doesn't... They do have a bit of a fight, but it's never like aggressive between the two of them.
He roughs him up. He says, "Look, I don't want you treating any more kids."
Yeah, he says no more kids will ever come through this door.
Yeah.
Basically just warns him off from doing it. If he says, if I ever find out you've done it again, things are going to change. One of my favourite lines of this film is he says that your biggest problem now is that I know, and it's not a secret anymore.
Yeah.
And he threatens to break every bone in his arms. From his fingernails to his shoulder blades, I think he says. Bill, in the middle of all this, though, Bill gets a phone call from Maxim to say his papers are ready. He's got his papers and he's now free to go. So the mood changes instantly, doesn't it? And they start celebrating, the two of them.
Well, yeah, because Bill's obviously happy that he's on his way out, and Duck's happy because Bill's on his way out.
Basically, so they go out celebrating. And I've written here, where's Leo gone? Because it's been ages now since we saw him. And then I've put, here he is, underneath. So we cut back to Leo now, and he's gone to visit Nadira's mum, and it comes out at this point that Cactus Bill's kid, Nadira, his daughter, her daughter, so she's the mother of Bill's kid.
So so Cactus Bill is Nadira's ex-husband.
Yes. I don't know why I said that in such a complicated way.
And then we get a flashback.
Yeah.
To earlier in the film. And do you want to take us through what has happened?
Basically, Bill is the one who's kidnapped Nadira.
Yeah, so he drugged both Leo and Nadira.
The night where
after
they'd been in the garage
after
and seen the nice bed.
after they'd gone and look at the wood carvings. He drugged their tea, waited for them to fall unconscious, and he kidnapped Nadira.
Yeah, that's where she's been this whole film.
So this whole thing is about a custody battle, basically.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This film could have been set in any time period. The story's always the same.
He is obviously worried that she's going to shop him into the police, and he wouldn't see his daughter again.
Which is why he needs the fake IDs and the passports to get out of the country so he can get away.
With her.
With the daughter, yeah. He decides that he's going to give Duck his house and also his job as Maxim's surgeon, chief of surgery.
So it's back into the present, and he basically says to Duck, you'll earn double the money, you can close your practice, take my role.
Stay away from the kids.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I didn't like this bit.
No.
So it then comes out, I just think this is really forced, completely out of left field, just as they're walking out from the shopping mall where they've been celebrating. Duck just says, "Oh yeah, I've been messing around with the barman. I got his phone number and I've been texting him."
Do you know what it reminded me of? You know in Home Alone, where the guy admits that he's the one who's been filling the sinks up with water, and the other guy's like, "You're an idiot, you're an idiot," and starts bashing him around the head, and he's like, "We're the wet bandits." It was reminding me of that, because it's like he's been doing this just for the fun of it, and there's absolutely no need for it.
No.
And the other guy's really not happy about it, and it really made me think of Home Alone. I don't know why.
Well, and it just came out of nowhere.
It did, yeah.
It felt really forced.
They came across like a pair of bumbling idiots at that point.
Yeah.
And they haven't done all the way through the film, and they don't do for the rest of it. It was just that one scene made them feel like they were stupid comedy characters.
Yeah, it
didn't need to be there.
I thought it cut them both off at the knees quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, I agree. And even if he had been doing that, they didn't need to say that, because we know that that Leo's been getting messages, and then in the next scene, you see Duck send him a message. So we didn't need that scene of him explaining it. You can figure that out for yourself, and it makes it less stupid. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Duck says he's just been doing it to mess with Leo. Yeah. But then when they're in the car, Duck and Bill are in the car leaving the mall. Yeah. Duck actively texts Leo to tell him where he can find Cactus.
Yeah, because he sells Cactus down the river now.
He does, because of the whole kerfuffle they had in the lab.
He wants to keep messing with the kids.
Yeah. So he basically says, Cactus is going to the club to collect his papers. He'll be there soon. Yeah.
They go to the brothel, don't they? The pair of them, again.
Yeah.
And Duck goes off with a couple of young girls. And Cactus decides he needs to leave his daughter there again, but he decides at the last minute that he doesn't want to leave his daughter there if Duck's going to stay there.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fair comment. So he decides he's going to take her with him this time, to wherever because he's going to the club to meet Maxim to get his papers.
Yeah.
Leo beats him to the club, and he just basically starts smashing shit up. He's got a piece of his bed.
Yeah, he's got a bedpost.
He's got one of these carved bedposts he's been making.
This is quite a new way to get notches on the bedpost, because he's using it as a weapon. So he takes all the goons out.
Yeah, smashes the bar up a little bit.
He gets to Maxim's office. He takes Maxim out.
Yeah.
And really conveniently, Maxim has left Cactus Bill's papers on the desk.
Yeah.
So Leo takes those as well.
Yeah. Bill shows up just after all this carnage has happened, and there's still like bodies all over the floor downstairs in the club, and he just kind of walks past it as if it's like an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
He goes up to the office and he finds Maxim's like lifeless body on the floor. He's still alive, for now. He tells Bill that Leo is looking for him and that Leo's taken his papers.
And he also knows where he lives, because Maxim is such a nice gangster that on the envelope containing the passports and stuff, he'd written Cactus Bill, 10 Cactus Lane, whatever his house is.
He had indeed, yeah. So Leo has obviously gone off to Bill's house now. Bill calls Duck. The names are silly. Bill calls Duck to ask him to meet him at his house. Leo gets there first. Leo's gone to the house. Bill follows him not long after. Bill turns up as well. The rest of the film's kind of set in this house now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, for most of it. Leo, when he gets there, finds Nicky is there and he's still strapped to the table.
Yeah.
He kind of frees him, sends him upstairs. We get another...
Bill sends his daughter up to her room.
Yeah. You get another bit of a flashback, don't you? Of Nadira's body's in a bag. Or Nadira's in a bag, she's not dead. And he's screaming out not to take his daughter away. You're not doing it. I'm going to kill you if you try, that sort of thing.
But it's from her perspective, so we're in the bag.
You can see Bill through Nadira's eyes. The next thing we see is Nicky falling back down the stairs. So obviously he's in quite a bad way. Bill's pushed him anyway. There's like a locked area in the basement where they are.
Yeah.
That Leo couldn't get into, and Bill gives him the key and he says, help yourself, go and have a look. And he looks in the freezer, the first place you'd go if you're looking for somebody. She's not in there, but he finds her dead body in a bag at the side of the freezer and is not impressed.
No.
He picks her up and they have a bit of a fight, and Bill's got this enormous knife.
I thought this was quite anticlimactic. The fight
Did you?
between the two of them.
It didn't go on for long enough, but I quite liked the fact that Bill had no chance against Leo, and we knew that.
Well, yeah, but maybe that's it. Maybe, but Bill's sort of hubris was that he thought he did, didn't he?
Yeah, but he did. He obviously
there was no doubt in his mind he was going to take this guy down.
Leo is an enormous monster of a human.
Yeah.
Alexander Skarsgard is huge. He's a big old unit. And Paul Rudd's not, to say the least. And he did have all this cocky arrogance about him, but there was no way he was ever going to stand a chance.
Oh, no.
And the fight didn't go on for long for that very reason. But Bill's got this massive knife, and Leo basically forces it into Bill's own throat.
Really slowly.
Really slowly. And it's so big it actually comes out the back of his neck.
Yeah.
And he's like gurgling for ages now. And it's really grim and horrible. It's like spitting up blood, and there's blood pooling in his mouth. And he's like gargling with it. It's horrible.
Yeah, so Leo just leaves him. He
stabs him in the throat and leaves him.
He picks up the body of Nadira and takes her outside.
Yeah, he took her out the bag, then took her outside.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Duck arrives at the house.
Yes.
And he finds Bill in the basement dying.
Yep.
And he basically says, "What do you want me to do? Should we go to hospital?" And Bill sort of gurgles yes, and then Duck just says, "No, we're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that." And you completely
too many questions.
Yeah, we'll never be able to cover it up. We'll never be able to answer the questions.
And then he just says, "You should have been nicer to me."
This was so dark. This bit is so dark because he says
it's horrible.
It is. They've got like a monitor on there in the basement on the wall, like a TV, and it's obviously showing the daughter's bedroom because Bill's keeping an eye on her. And as Duck says, "You should have been nicer to me, Bill," he kind of turns the monitor so Bill can see it from where he's lying.
Yeah. And
then he just walks out. And we're like, if that film would have ended there, that's a whole different story. It's so dark.
Yeah. You picked up exactly on another one of my criticisms. We'll cover that maybe when we summarise. I think that would have been quite the place to end this movie.
I would have loved it. There's no way a film is allowed to end there, but that would have been such an ending. It would have tested horribly with American audiences, but it would have been it's the darkest ending of a film ever if you do that. It really is, because Bill kind of is watching the monitor, and you see Duck go up into the room from the monitor, from Bill's perspective, and he kind of picks her up, and like holds her, and then Bill just dies, and the last thing he sees is his Duck picking up his daughter. Oh, it's so dark. I was like watching it behind a cushion. I was like, that is so bad. What a horrible way to die. Cut to Leo is outside now, and he's asleep, sitting up against a tree.
Yeah.
With Nadira in his arms, and Duck comes out and just kicks him in the face and knocks him out. Which was really funny. I was like, oh, he's fell asleep, bless him.
Why did he suddenly... I guess he'd like emotionally...
I think he was just drained and he was done.
Yeah,
I think he was just done. He wakes up and he's strapped to Duck's surgery table.
Yeah.
And Duck's doing surgery on his throat, and he's putting an electric voice box into Leo's throat, which is obviously technology. It's one of those things. And Duck tries to make him apologise for killing Bill, and he doesn't. He still won't speak, even though he now has the ability to speak.
Yeah, he won't talk.
He won't talk. So Duck puts him in the car with the daughter. They go on a little car journey. The girl shows Leo the picture that he drew earlier on and gave to her. So they're like friends, is basically what we're getting here. They're like bonded. And they stop on this bridge. It's quite a high bridge over a river. And turns out it's where the photo of Nadira was taken.
Yeah, it's a place where Bill and Nadira used to go a lot.
Yeah, and Duck says he took the photo. So they were obviously like, all three of them were like mates at the time. And Duck's basically just trying to get a reaction out of him, isn't he? He's trying to get some sort of emotion out of this guy. He cuts the padlock off. He's got a laser, and he cuts the padlock off the bridge, so the bridge is open.
A sonic screwdriver, isn't
it? It is, yeah. And he stands Leo up, and he's making out like he's going to throw him off the bridge. But Leo grabs him in like a bear hug.
Yeah.
And like squeezes all the air out of him, and then takes in this huge breath himself and jumps in the water. And they're kind of under the water together. Duck's still in this bear hug, and Leo's got a lung full of air, and we know he can hold his breath. And he drowns. Duck drowns.
Yeah, Leo just holds him till he drowns, pushes him down.
I thought ducks would survive underwater longer than that.
Yeah, you would have thought. You'd have thought his feet would have helped him.
So Leo lets him go and pushes her down on his head, so he goes up and Duck goes down. The girl is looking over the bridge to find out what's going on, and Leo shouts at her to get back.
Yeah, he says, it's dangerous, step back.
Step back, and that's the first words he said in this entire film. He plods back up to the bridge covered in water, and he goes to her, I will take you to see your grandmother. And that's basically the end, isn't it? They go to a restaurant, have some food, bit more bonding, and he's going to take her to see Nadira's mother. And the film ends.
Yeah, it turns out that the girl Josie is wearing a bracelet made up of carvings that Leo had previously done, and like little beads, and he'd been giving them to Nadira. Yeah. So he gives her one last one, and that's the end of the film.
That's the end of the film. There's a dedication at the end of the film. Did you catch the dedication?
Yeah, it was to Duncan Jones's parents.
Yes. It says, in memory of those who became parents, David Jones and Marion Skeen. Marion Skeen was his nanny, not his mother.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
His mother's Angie Bowie.
Oh, I see.
But he doesn't speak to her. He hasn't spoken to her since he was 13. Because apparently, I was reading up about them, and apparently she took a £750,000 custody settlement. So she gave up custody of him for money.
Oh, right, okay.
And he hasn't spoken to her since.
Right, so that changes things a bit. Well, not changes things. You can see why this was his passion project then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I didn't really. That's really interesting that there's that link to real life.
Yeah.
And suddenly you can see what this is a sort of analogy for.
Yeah, I couldn't completely agree. As soon as I looked it up and found out, he was basically raised by this lady in France because David Bowie was touring constantly for his entire career. He was always on tour. And so this lady basically raised him, and that's why it says to memory of those who became parents.
What an absolute sick burn. For his mother.
Both his dad and Marion Skeen died whilst he was making this film.
Wow.
So that's why he dedicated it to them. I thought that was just an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So overall, what did you think?
I'm really mixed on this. I think there's loads of issues with this.
Yeah, it's got issues for definite.
A lot of which I've talked about. I didn't buy this world that we were in. I didn't really buy into the character of Leo. I don't know if that's a knock on the performance. Did he need to be mute?
Yeah, it's the name of the film.
That could have just been his surname.
I know what you mean. I think it gave an extra dimension to him.
Was it one gimmick too many?
I thought
having said all that, I didn't hate this.
I didn't hate it. I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought it was all right. It was half decent for me. I thought Alexander Skarsgard played it quite well because I don't feel like he needed to talk. I thought he could get the emotions over with his face and with his notepad. And I thought he played it quite well. I thought Paul Rudd absolutely stole it.
Oh, he was great.
I will give you that. He was amazing. And the guy who played Duck, he was really good.
This should have been 20 minutes to half an hour less.
Yeah, completely. If you cut half an hour off this film, you've got an amazing film. It plods a little bit too much in the middle.
Or do more with the time.
Yeah,
like I say,
show us the city a bit more, and
flesh out some of these characters. People like Nikki, who was just a total plot device. Yeah. Just follow the White Rabbit type thing.
Even Nadira to her, we didn't know anything about her, and a couple of times I was thinking, well, why do I need to care about this girl?
Yeah.
Well, even their relationship was only shown for like 5 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, considering this is a 2 hours and 6 minutes film, it seemed to waste a lot of its time.
I agree. I think it would have been much better balanced if she'd have been in it for longer, and then we'd have had less time on this wild goose chase.
Make it shorter and sharper. The chase.
So I care about her a bit more.
Cut out Dominic Monaghan's scene. That didn't need to be there at all. Even the whole Nikki character probably didn't need to be there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Those two bits in the middle where you've got Bill torturing them. The paedophile storyline was a bit weird, but the way that final scene ended up,
it was just to set up that last bit.
It was incredible. If they'd have finished that film there, it was so dark.
Yeah,
so dark.
So I did have a lot of issues with it, but it's nowhere near the worst thing we've seen.
No, I really enjoyed it. I didn't, like you say, there are issues with it, but as a film that you can just sit down and watch, it's a real spectacle. I thought it was really good.
After I finished watching this yesterday, I did go online and do a bit of reading.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did much, but this got absolutely ripped to shreds when it came out.
No, I didn't notice that.
Read some reviews last night. Absolutely torn asunder.
Do you think that's because of the reputation of the director? Do you think films sometimes get held on a higher esteem when somebody's made such a good film?
It's your turn, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like, well, this film's not as good as Moon, so it must be shit. Do you think that's the way people look at it?
Maybe. I think like people didn't like Warcraft, and then
just piled on.
I think it's really easy to throw at this that it's because when someone says, "Oh, this is my passion project. This is the one I've wanted to do for ages," it's easy to throw at it that it's pretentious and overlong.
Yeah.
They're valid criticisms to a degree, but I certainly don't agree with some of the vitriol I seem to have seen on it.
No, I agree.
On some of the reviews that I've read, one said it was one of the worst things on Netflix. No. Now, that's someone who's obviously not seen as much bad stuff as us because...
We need to send them the link to our podcast.
Yeah. Because I don't think this is great. I think it's got some really memorable bits in it. Paul Rudd's great.
We've watched a lot of really bad things
it's
on Netflix.
It's nowhere near the worst thing we've seen.
We've not even scratched the surface of really bad things on Netflix. Yeah. No, it's nowhere near. It's not nowhere near the worst thing we've seen this season.
Oh, no.
And it's worth... I think it's worth a couple of hours of your time. Like you say, if you could have cut half an hour off it, it probably would have been a really good film. It's really, you get the pacing right, it's a really good film.
Yeah, that would be my summary. It's got a lot of issues, but we're grading on a curve, and compared to some of the absolute tripe we've sat through, this is
last week. Compare it
better.
To last week's film.
Yeah,
you could look at Thoroughbreds. It's oodles of time better. Loads better. I don't know. Overall, I think I enjoyed it. I thought it was a compelling story. I like that sort of futuristic cityscape that films do sometimes. Like you said, there wasn't enough of that, but I like that idea.
Yeah, they didn't make enough of that.
No,
I think that is a fair criticism.
I got something out of it. I certainly didn't hate it. No. Should we move on to the trivia question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to go first, or shall I? I've only got one question, so shall I go first? Have you got more than one?
Yes.
Can I go first then? Just to
go for it.
Really easy one for me this week. What is the name of the club that Maxim owns?
It is Foreign Dreams.
Yeah, well done. You pull that out of your head.
I knew it was something Dreams.
You've not got that written down.
No.
I'll give you that then. Well done. I'm impressed.
No, it was on quite a lot of signs, wasn't it?
It was. I was going to ask you if you spotted who the geisha girl was. But I didn't know if you'd have spotted that or not.
I knew you would because you would you deliberately didn't bring it up. I can tell. I was like, either you've totally missed it.
I was hoping you'd totally missed it. It was going to be my question. Because you can't tell it's him.
Yeah, you can.
Do you think? But you would have known that he was in it.
I don't know why he's doing like a part Mancunian part South African accent. Though.
He's never understood accents. His accents are different even in Lost, his accents are different every week. Okay, well done. So what's that, 4-3 to you now?
Yeah.
Cool. What's your question for? I'm not going to know it because there's so much going on in this film. I'm going to be awful.
This is one of those, if you know it, you know it. I know that's an easy thing to say, but like, sort of thing I noticed straight away. But so quite a plot point in this is when Leo steals Maxim's car because it's like an old as in current vehicle, like current to today. What makes the car?
Something's jumped straight into my head and I don't know if it's right or not. Is it a Rolls Royce?
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
It is not, no.
Bastard.
We are in Germany, so it's a Mercedes.
Okay, no, I wouldn't have got that. I remember it looking quite old, and there was it had a big front end, and I just thought, well, maybe it's a Rolls Royce.
Big old Mercedes badge on the front. Yep.
I can't watch right and take in what's going on. I don't know why we ever started this trivia thing. It's stupid. We need to change it. 4-3, you've taken the lead again.
Yes. Awesome.
Exciting. You got 4 out of 8. That's not bad.
That's good. It's better than last year.
Yeah, definitely.
The last season, sorry.
That brings us on to the stream table.
Sure.
What's your initial thoughts?
Do us a quick run through, yeah.
To run through from the bottom.
Yeah, go bottom to top.
Currently in 7th is Deadly Detention. In 6th is last week's film Thoroughbreds. In 5 is Ark. 4 is Take Me. 3 is Peelers. 2 is First Match. And number 1 is Bad Day for the Cut. I think I know where it goes.
I'm just trying to decide which side of Take Me it goes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. That's exactly where I was on my screen. It's not as good as Peelers. Peelers is a really fun zombie film. Take Me is a fun film as well. It's a tough one. It's definitely better than Ark, so you're right, it does go there somewhere.
I don't think it's as good as First Match, which is really difficult to compare because First Match is like a tiny little, it's about a group of 5 or 6 people, but it had really good performances.
Yeah.
It's telling a simple story, but it does it really well. So for me, it's just, did I enjoy this more or less than Take Me? My hunch is to put it just below.
I think I'd put it above,
but I'm not. I could be swayed, to be honest, because I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, it is very close. I'd be happy with either side of there, but I think it's a slightly better film than Take Me. The story itself is better.
Well, it's just certainly, it's a different level ambition-wise, isn't it?
There's a nicer look to it. It's a prettier film. The story's better. The performances are probably better. We should point out that this is the second time Alexander Skarsgard's been in a film on our stream, and I've still not heard his voice.
That's true.
He doesn't speak in Hold the Dark either.
He obviously doesn't get paid per word.
Obviously not. He's got the easiest job in Hollywood. Just turn up and make some facial expressions every film, please.
I always get him confused with
Bill Skarsgård.
No, he always reminds me of the guy out of The Killing, the tall American guy, who was in Suicide Squad, and he's in Altered Carbon on Netflix. What's the guy's name? Joel Kinnaman.
I found it exactly the same time as you did then as well. Yeah, they've got a similar look, haven't they?
Yeah. Anyway, that's completely by the by. But I always
he hasn't got the look of his brother, Bill Skarsgård. He's like a small little runt of a man. Pennywise.
Are they related to... Who's the guy out of the Marvel... Is he a Skarsgård?
Skarsgård? Which one?
Yeah. He's in all the Thor films. He's like a scientist. A couple of the Avengers.
Yes.
Stellan.
I think they're his kids.
Oh, okay.
I think Stellan's the dad, if I remember rightly. Yeah, he's the dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Stellan Skarsgård is the dad, and then I think there's 3 sons.
Oh, quite the dynasty.
If I remember rightly. I think there's Alexander, who this guy is. Bill Skarsgård is Pennywise. I think he's the youngest. And then there's Gustav. I think he's in Vikings.
Right, okay.
I think he's in Westworld as well, actually, now I mention it. I think there's 3 of them, if I remember rightly.
Cool.
Anyway, Take Me. No, that sounds wrong.
Don't have to ask me once.
I think it goes above Take Me.
I don't have a problem with that.
I think it's a better film overall than Take Me. So are we happy with it going into 4th?
Is it 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Bad Day for the Got to be number 1, First Match number 2, Peelers number 3, and then this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4th.
Yeah,
That's not bad. I was expecting it to be around there, so that's not bad.
Yeah, it's just, we're still early on in the season, so
yeah, about a third of the way through.
We'll see how it does. I still don't think we've had anything that has blown my socks off yet this
not
season.
The number 1 spot's definitely wide open. It could go at any time for definite.
Yeah. This time in our second series we'd already had a couple of films that were really were there for the whole series. I think it's nothing against the two that are at the top of the minute, but I think I'd be disappointed if they're the best films we watch.
Yeah, I'd be gutted. They're both good films, but I don't want them to be the top of the table when we come to the 25th film.
But that all depends on the randomizer. So
it does indeed. Talking of the randomizer, shall I pick next week's film?
Yes, let's do it.
What are you hoping to get out of this for next week? What are you looking
for? Let's go for we have not had a rom-com. Let's have a rom-com.
A rom-com? I don't know if there's many of them even on here now. Okay, are you ready for me to press the button?
Yeah.
Let's pick a film called Holidays.
Okay, cool.
Any ideas?
Yeah, I do know a bit about this because...
do you?
Yeah, because I remember adding it to the list way back.
Way back when?
In fact, we might want to check it's still on there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't play my new game now of asking you what you think a film's about.
No, because I added this one, so I remember looking at it. So it's going to be something a bit different for us, because I believe it's actually an anthology of sorts. So you've got 3 or 4 mini stories in there.
Oh, right, okay, that sounds interesting.
And I think they're all set around different holidays. So, as in Easter, Halloween, Christmas, etc. Yeah, so that'll be a bit different.
Excellent.
I've no idea when it's from or who's in it.
Holidays is from 2016.
Oh, okay.
It's another 18. We didn't do any 18s. I think we've done 2 or 3 in a row now.
Something for the adults.
We've certainly done 2 this season. It says Holidays is an anthology feature film that puts a uniquely dark and original spin on some of the most iconic and beloved holidays of all time by challenging our folklore, traditions and assumptions.
That's what I just said.
It is basically, yeah. You could write synopsises. Synopsises. How do you say that? What's the plural of synopsis?
Synopsis is.
Synopsis is.
Yeah.
So that sounds quite... We've not done anything like that before. So
no.
It looks like there's 4 films in one.
Yeah.
It's on for an hour and 45 minutes.
Get your notebook ready.
Yeah, he's going to need it. We're going to do 4 films in 1 week next week.
Challenge.
Go out and check out Holidays, and we'll come back next week, and we'll talk to you about 4 films.
Sure will. Cheers.
Bye.